The Greek colonization of the Mediterranean was a vast and complex historical process that profoundly reshaped the ancient world, both geographically and culturally. Beginning around the 8th century BC and continuing until the 6th century BC, it was a period in which the Greek world expanded far beyond the Aegean basin, creating a network of settlements and trade routes that linked Europe, Asia, and Africa. This expansion was not a single organized movement, but rather a gradual and spontaneous process carried out by individual city-states, each acting independently according to its own needs and ambitions. The causes of Greek colonization were multiple and interconnected. One of the primary reasons was demographic pressure. Many Greek poli were small, located in mountainous regions with limited fertile land, which could not sustain a rapidly growing population. Food shortages, combined with internal political struggles and social tensions between aristocrats and common citizens, often pushed part of the population to seek new opportunities elsewhere. Economic motivations were equally important. The Greeks sought new sources of raw materials, such as metals, timber, and grain, and new markets in which to sell their pottery, olive oil, and wine. Trade and agriculture were the foundation of Greek prosperity, and establishing colonies offered a means of securing commercial routes and expanding production. Religious factors also played a role in the colonization movement. The founding of a colony was often preceded by consultations with the Oracle of Delphi, where settlers sought divine approval and guidance. The chosen leader, known as the oikist, was responsible for organizing the expedition, selecting the site, and laying out the new city, which typically included a central acropolis, a public agora, temples, and defensive walls, modeled after the mother city. Colonies were called apoikiai, meaning homes away, and although they were politically independent, they maintained close religious, cultural, and emotional ties with their metropolis. The first wave of colonization targeted the eastern Mediterranean. Settlements appeared on the coasts of Asia Minor and the islands of the Aegean Sea, where cities like Miletus, Ephesus, and Rhodes became powerful centers of commerce and culture. Ionian Greeks in particular were pioneers of maritime expansion, founding numerous colonies around the Black Sea, such as Sinope, Trapezus, and Byzantium, where they traded grain, fish, and slaves. The second wave of colonization moved westward, reaching the central and western Mediterranean. In southern Italy and Sicily, known collectively as Magna Graecia, the Greeks founded some of their most prosperous and influential cities: Tarentum, modern-day Taranto, Sybaris, Croton, Cumae, and above all, Syracuse, which became one of the greatest powers of the ancient world. These colonies played a vital role in spreading Greek art, architecture, philosophy, and political institutions, influencing the development of neighboring peoples such as the Etruscans, Romans, and Carthaginians. Further to the west, Greek settlers reached the coasts of Gaul and the Iberian Peninsula, founding Massalia, modern Marseille, and Emporion, modern Empúries, which became gateways for the transmission of Greek culture into Western Europe. To the south, Greek colonization extended to North Africa, where the city of Cyrene, founded by settlers from Thera, Santorini, grew into a wealthy and powerful center. The Black Sea region, meanwhile, became an important area of Greek influence, providing access to abundant natural resources, fertile land, and trade with the Scythians and other peoples of the steppes. Culturally, Greek colonization had immense and lasting effects. It spread the Greek language, religion, and artistic styles throughout the Mediterranean world, creating what can be described as a shared Hellenic identity that transcended local boundaries. Colonies adopted and adapted Greek political institutions, particularly the concept of the polis or city-state, which became the dominant form of political organization in the Greek world. At the same time, contact with foreign civilizations fostered cultural exchange and innovation. The Greeks absorbed elements of Egyptian art, Phoenician navigation, and Oriental luxury goods, blending them into their own culture. These interactions stimulated intellectual development and laid the groundwork for the later flourishing of Greek philosophy, science, and art in the classical period. Economically, the colonies became integral parts of a vast trading system that connected distant regions. Greek merchants exchanged olive oil, wine, and ceramics for metals from Spain, grain from Egypt and the Black Sea, and luxury goods from the Near East. Maritime routes became safer and more regular, and ports developed into hubs of commerce and communication. Over time, some colonies surpassed their mother cities in wealth and influence. Syracuse, for example, emerged as a maritime empire, and Marseilles became an essential trading partner for both the Greeks and the Celts. Politically and socially, the colonization movement contributed to the transformation of the Greek world. The need to organize new settlements encouraged innovation in governance and social organization, promoting values like cooperation, civic participation, and adaptability. Many colonies developed mixed constitutions and experimented with forms of government that later influenced political thought in Greece itself. In the long term, the Greek colonization of the Mediterranean established the foundations of a cultural network that endured for centuries. When Alexander the Great began his conquests in the 4th century BC, the groundwork for the spread of Hellenism had already been laid by these earlier settlers. The Greek colonies had created a world tied together not by political unity, but by a common language, religion, and lifestyle, the essence of what it meant to be Greek. This diffusion of Hellenic culture shaped the identity of the Mediterranean basin, leaving an indelible legacy that would later influence the Roman Empire, and through it, the entire Western civilization. Thus, the colonization of the Mediterranean by the Greeks was far more than a migration of peoples. It was a monumental act of cultural creation that defined the ancient world and continues to echo through history.